Here are the headlines for today. At Donald Trump's second White House rally on Saturday, the one that was absolutely not a campaign event, the one that featured Trump addressing an adoring teal-shirted and mostly maskless crowd wedged shoulder to shoulder. An unknown number of those folks were actually paid to be there, and I am not just making that up. ABC News reports that conservative commentator Candace Owens offered to cover travel and lodging expenses for a limited number of people who showed up and were willing to wear the light blue shirts. Well, that's a lot of freaking people, if you ask me, as you can see in this image right here. In spite of the far right voters present, one specifically gathered to encourage Black Americans to vote for Trump and Trump's allies to hear a Donald Trump speech about law and order. All involved are insistent that this was a presidenting speech, not a campaign speech. America, this is what we've come to. All right. Oh, boy, I don't even know how to comment upon that, but, Donald Trump has a history of basically, paying people to show up at his events to make them look populated. And people need the money right now. I don't even, you'd like to attack the people who would do such a thing, but people are desperate. They need money and blue t-shirts. All right. Oh, also today, Senator Amy Klobuchar, this was actually yesterday, opened the Senate Judiciary Committee Supreme Court confirmation hearings of Judge Amy Coney Barrett by calling it a sham. I look forward to listening to the blistering opening statement Klobuchar did, where she tore into Senate Republicans for moving forward with the proceedings just a few weeks, 2.5 to be exact, before the election. Klobuchar bashed conservatives for charging ahead while ignoring more pressing issues related to the coronavirus pandemic. She went on to call for the public to make contact with Republicans in an effort to get them to shift their focus to more urgent affairs. Here is Amy Klobuchar's opening statement. I think you're going to love it.
Seriously. Federal judges, senators, the President of the United States, we all take an oath to uphold the Constitution. We make promises to do justice, to tell the truth. At its core, that's what judges do, right? Figure out the truth, figure out justice. My mom, a second-grade teacher, spent her life teaching little kids what was right or wrong, what was true or false. I still believe it matters, and so do the American people. But we are dealing with a president who doesn't think truth matters. And he has allies in Congress who in the past defended our democracy, but are now doing his bidding. Senators who clearly set out that a precedent that the president in an election year should wait, that we should have an election, and that then the people choose the president and the president chooses the nominee. That was your precedent. It has been said that the wheels of justice turn slowly, and justice, on the other hand, can move at lightning speed, as we are seeing here today. We cannot, and you watching at home should not, separate this hearing from the moment we are in and from the judge he is trying to rush through. To respond to Senator Cruz, this isn't a rush to justice. This is a rush to put in a justice whose views are known and who will have a profound impact on your life. And yes, these policies that the court decides, they matter. Where you can go to school, who you can marry, decisions you can make about your own body, and yes, your health care. The president knows this. We have a president who has refused to commit to a peaceful transfer of power after an election. Every candidate does that, but not this guy. We have a president who has fired or replaced 5 inspector generals, Senator Grassley, who has fired an attorney general, an FBI director, and is now going after their replacements. We have a president who divides our country each and every day. He has called our military suckers and losers. He's refused to condemn white supremacists, and he has the gall to hold up a Bible as a prop in front of a church instead of heeding its words to act justly. And now he says this election will end up in court. Why, Senator Cruz? Does President Trump matter? He is putting the Supreme Court in place, in his words, to, quote, look at the ballots, end quote. Well, I won't concede that this election is headed to the court because you know at home exactly what the president is up to. That's why you're voting. That's why you are voting in droves. Why are you voting? Well, you know that your rights, your health care is on the line. You know that they are trying to push through a justice who has been critical of upholding the Affordable Care Act, and they're doing it in the middle of a pandemic. And you can see here in this room the misplaced priorities of this Republican-run Senate, and it's in your hands to change it. Are they working to pass a bill to help Americans to get the testing they need to save their lives? Are they working to help the moms trying to balance a toddler on their lap while balancing a laptop on their desk? Are they trying to help our seniors isolated, missing graduations and birthdays? Are they passing the bill the House passed that would help our economy? That's not the priority. Instead, they choose to do this.
She did it. That's good. Klobuchar to the rescue. It's fun to see Amy Klobuchar out there swinging after having run for president. It's good. She's not sitting back at all. She's doing the job that we want her to do, making points that need to be made. In other news, Georgia's polls opened yesterday for the first day of in-person early voting. There were excessive wait times as the combination of high turnout and technical difficulties resulted in long lines and possible health risks. A situation that voting rights advocates describe as an example of intense voter engagement and excitement being undermined by a troubling system of voter suppression. The Washington Post reported that voters waited in line for up to 5 hours across the North Atlanta metro region and surrounding suburbs as well. Brian Nyhan, a political scientist at Dartmouth, says that we are becoming desensitized to the unacceptable burdens on the franchise. You can report voter suppression or intimidation to the election. There's an election protection hotline. So whatever you see, go vote. People are, taking note of what's going on. Later in the week, we have Greg Palast coming on to talk to us. He is basically the foremost expert because of his independent journalism and the book that he just wrote about voter suppression and electoral malfeasance. So keep tuned to ACT TV for that interview. The voter suppression or intimidation hotline, the protection hotline, is 1-866-OUR-VOTE. Again, 1-866-OUR-VOTE. Or for Spanish, it's 1-888-VE-Y-VOTA. VY-VOTA. I do not speak Spanish, and I hope I did justice to that. I don't think they have an Italian voter protection hotline anymore. Those days are over, people. But if they did, I could probably pronounce that one. All right, moving along in our stories today. Climate justice advocates are urging public banks across the world to treat government responses to the coronavirus crisis as opportunities to coordinate just recoveries from the ongoing public health and economic calamities that we are living through. They're asking banks to facilitate just transitions from dirty to clean energy, thereby beginning to build the world we want. According to 350.org, a handful of institutions such as the European Investment Bank, Swedfund, and the French Development Agency have already committed to diverting public money away from fossil fuels, a move that climate campaigners say is necessary but insufficient. But necessary. Activists argue that public banks must commit to harness resources in ways that disempower oil, gas, and coal industries while creating a more egalitarian and sustainable world that benefits workers, communities, and the environment. You can go to the action, which you're seeing here on our image, worldwewant2030.org or hashtag worldwewant, but worldwewant2030.org. And there you can find out how you can pressure public banks to facilitate just transitions from dirty to clean energy. What a time it would be to do that since, so much of the use of oil and gas is down because of all the constraints put upon us due to COVID. And finally, our final story today, Democratic Senate candidate Jamie Harrison, who is running to unseat Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, raised $57 million during the final full quarter of the campaign. Those numbers shatter Senate fundraising records. People want Lindsey Graham out. Can we get Mitch McConnell out too? Please, we beg of you, South Carolina, do the right thing. Anyway, those numbers shatter the Senate fundraising records with the largest single quarter total by any candidate in U.S. history. Graham has not yet released his fundraising totals, but Harrison has outraised him consistently this year, prompting the three-term Republican to appear on Fox News recently to implore viewers to send in donations. According to a Harrison spokesman, the campaign is making history because we're focused on restoring hope back to South Carolina. Jamie Harrison is remaining laser focused on the real issues impacting people here, like healthcare, broadband access, and COVID relief for businesses and families. If you want to give money, I don't know if there's still time. There may be. Jamie Harrison is the one to give to so that we can get rid, if we are lucky, of Lindsey Graham. Those are your progressive headlines for today. I'm Juliana Forlano. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching us on Facebook, don't forget to subscribe. And thank you to all the 40,000 subscribers that we have that have joined us here on the channel over the last couple of months since we've been doing this. So thank you so much for that.